This video contains graphic combat footage and images that some may find disturbing. For that reason, viewers' discretion is advised. October 30th, 2020, America's top special operations unit faced off against a deadly group of terrorists in West Africa when they kidnapped an American man named Philip Walton. Tensions rised as the terrorist group threatened Walton's life, resulting in a deadly shootout between America's Tier 1 operators and the African terrorist organization. The details of this high-risk operation give us a clear comparison of the capabilities of the world's most expensive special operations unit versus a terrorist group from one of the poorest countries in the world. Philip Walton was abducted from his farm in the West African country of Niger. He was out in his backyard with his wife and daughter when several armed men on motorcycles showed up and demanded money from the family. Walton offered them all the money he had on him, which totaled to about $40 US. But unfortunately, the gunman quickly realized he was an American, and so his life would likely be worth a lot of money. Even if they couldn't get a decent ransom for his release, they could definitely sell him to one of the larger terrorist groups in the area. And so the gunmen kidnapped Walton, but thankfully they left his wife and daughter unharmed, which is incredibly surprising. Shortly after abducting Walton, the men used his phone to call his father and request a ransom of $1 million in exchange for his life. As soon as the ransom was made, the Nigerian and American military began their search for Philip Walton, and within 48 hours of the abduction, the CIA, through the use of cell phone surveillance, were able to track the kidnappers to an undisclosed location in Nigeria. A small team of MARSOC operators were then called in to do a boots-on-the-ground recon of the area to confirm that Walton was in fact being held there and to gather as much information about the building and the enemy force as they could. The MARSOC team got set up in a well-hidden position with a good view of the target house, and they used cameras and high magnification scopes to closely monitor the building. Thankfully, they quickly confirmed that Philip Walton was both alive and being held inside the target house. But even more than that, they also got a head count of just how many armed men were guarding him, which was a total of 7 men armed with AK-47s. They also managed to get several photos of the building so that the assault team could have a good idea of what the floor plan was like. And with their part of the mission now complete, the MARSOC team packed up all their gear and hiked back out to the designated extraction point where they were picked up by a helicopter. And all the information they gathered was then passed on to a team of US Navy SEALs from Naval Special Warfare Development Group, or commonly referred to as SEAL Team 6. Now equipped with all the intel they needed thanks to the MARSOC team, the Navy SEALs quickly got to work on their game plan for their hostage rescue mission. Meanwhile, the CIA continued monitoring the situation, and it became apparent that the kidnappers were prepping to sell Walton to a nearby terrorist group. If that happened, Walton would likely never be seen again. And so, the Navy SEALs were given the green light to hit the target house and rescue Walton immediately. And in the dead of night on October 30th, approximately 30 US Navy SEALs equipped with night vision devices jumped out of an AC-130 gunship, and in the cover of darkness, the team parachuted in, landing about 1.5 miles from the target house. The team landed so far away to ensure the enemy wouldn't see them coming. On this type of hostage rescue mission, surprise was everything. If the enemy saw them coming, they would likely kill Walton. So they hiked to the target in total darkness. And once they arrived on target, the SEALs were pleasantly surprised to find no guards outside the building. The SEALs had just hit the lottery. The enemy must have gotten lazy and gone inside for the night. So the team silently approached the house and simultaneously made entry through multiple different doors, completely taking the enemy by surprise. The now sleeping enemy jumped out of their beds in terror as the Navy SEALs slammed through every door and window of the building. The men scrambled to grab their AK-47s, but the American operators with their MP-7s and HK-416s dropped them within seconds of entering the building. 6 out of the 7 gunmen were dead before they even knew what was happening. The SEALs then quickly grabbed Walton and told him, "We're US Navy SEALs and we're here to take you home." And Walton was back home safe and sound with his wife and daughter that next morning. But that leaves us with an obvious question, right? What happened to the 7th gunman? The report says they killed 6 out of the 7 gunmen, but it never says anything about what happened to lucky number 7. Some news outlets are reporting that he got away somehow, but that isn't in the official report, so I'm not sure where they're getting that information from. And that sounds extremely unlikely, as the target was an extremely small house, and there were 30 Navy SEALs there that night. When SEALs hit a target like this, they always put several men around the perimeter of the building to catch anyone trying to run away. So there's no chance he managed to slip past 30 Tier 1 operators. I'd say it's much more likely that they took him alive for questioning so they could get some intel out of him about the local terrorist groups. But that's just speculation and isn't reported anywhere. It's also possible that he surrendered and they just let him go, but that honestly sounds a lot less likely to me. But I'm very interested to hear what you guys think happened to the not so lucky number 7, so let me know down in the comments below. If you guys want to see the footage that was too graphic for me to put in this video on YouTube, I have a link to my Patreon in the description below. The reason I've started this Patreon is because combat footage is heavily censored in public social media platforms, but Patreon is a private subscription-based platform, which means we don't have to worry about videos being censored or removed from the page. War is hell, but it's an important part of history, and I believe it is incredibly important to document that portion of our history so we can learn from it and hopefully prevent it in the future. So I hope you will support the Patreon and help me save as much footage as possible before it's too late. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you should definitely check out this video on screen right now. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for all the support, and I will see you guys in the next video.